No, so we talk about Friday the 13th, and of course that's a horror franchise, and
One of my favorites.
I love like scary stories. I love ghost stories. For those who like don't believe in ghosts, it's like, hey, that's your opinion. I respect it. But me, I believe in ghosts.
Especially from Goosebumps. I remember reading those books.
Yeah, I read the books and the show. Big part of our childhood.
I don't like the movie though.
The movie wasn't that bad. I think it's because we're grown, and that's not like the ideal audience.
I
It was for
guess.
kids, you know. But so we used to live in this house for 15 years,
Yeah.
right? And this is always the first story I think of when I think of ghost stories. I was in high school. You were in middle school.
No, not even, dude. I was like in 5th grade,
That's whatever, middle school.
4th grade. I don't know. I was really little, dude. I was really little. But I think I know this story you're talking about.
So we get ready. We're going to school. But for some reason, the power was out. And it wasn't just us. It was like the whole street. I don't know. It was, I don't know. I don't know what the reason.
I think it was like monsoon season or something.
Maybe. But, we're getting ready. And then we're hanging out in my room. Just talking, hanging out, until it's time to leave. And I remember, I think I was on my phone.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember too because
Like I was just messing
I
on
think
my
mom
phone.
and dad were at work at the time already.
Maybe.
'Cause I remember we had to walk to school.
I don't think so.
No, I was walking after school. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't think so. Because I was riding the bus
Yeah.
to go to high school. So who would have dropped you off? It would have been.
I don't remember, dude.
Anyway, that's not the point. So we're there just hanging out, whatever. And you know how like you're comfortable with the person, and sometimes there's those just moments of silence where you're just vibing, just there.
Yeah.
That was us. So we're just there chilling, and we're in my bedroom, and we can hear in another room down the house.
Dude, it was like on the other side of the house.
It was the
man.
living room.
Oh yeah, it was the living room, and we had like all the doors open too, and it was just it made it more creepier.
So we hear, well, I'm gonna say I heard this faint voice of a woman kind of yelling, but it was a
Yeah.
whisper yell, and she was like, "Ayúdame,
Really? That's what you
ayúdame." She was saying, "Help me" in Spanish.
Really, because for me,
What'd you hear?
she said the same thing, but in English though. She kept saying she said help me once, but when she said me, it was like a long me.
Yeah.
She was like help me, and it was just so creepy because it was so faint, but it was loud to the point where it's like you can hear from like another room.
But the point is, like, we didn't say anything.
We both heard it and we just looked.
We
at
just
each other.
looked at each other
Yeah.
like you heard that.
It was just so creepy, dude. Like I don't know what the hell happened.
I know for a fact that house, or maybe that's just that area, it was haunted. There's no
Oh yeah,
way.
no, it was haunted.
So to give some backstory, we found out around that time. Our neighbor at that
Mhm.
time, well, no, at that not at the time, but like our neighbor had, it was a wife and a husband. I don't remember if they had any kids. That's
I
something.
don't think they did.
No, I mean that's something for mom and dad to remember.
Yeah.
But there was an argument one night, and mom and dad said they heard them, and apparently the next morning there was like police or whatever, and the news, and they had interviewed dad, and he was on the news. I remember
that too. I was like, "Hey, Dad."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Wait, he can't even hear me."
So he was on the news, and apparently the husband had killed the wife.
Yeah,
And to this day, I'm convinced
that was her.
that was some kind of residual energy
Yeah. And it's like
of the night that taken place.
it's like over time getting older, it's just even more creepier though. Because when you're a kid, it's like, oh my god, it's scary, But when you get older, it's like, dude, that's really creepy.
It's kind of sad too.
Yeah.
To think that energy is still around. That maybe she hasn't found peace.
Yeah, it was really weird, man. Another one was it was like a few years before when that happened. Mom and Dad and Yudlin, they were gone. They went somewhere. Or Yudlin was in her room. She wasn't in the. We were in the living room. I remember it was you and me. She was in the living room. She was either in her room or she was with them because I know Mom and Dad weren't there. And this was at the time where it was like around Christmas time. And looking back, I'm pretty sure they were going Christmas shopping. But one night we were just watching TV, and we had like a mini coffee table, and there was like this one like Harkins Theater cup, and it was like filled up all the way, or maybe like 75%.
No, no, I remember it was like those souvenir cups you get at a football game.
Oh, it was those ones.
It was one of those.
But it was plastic cup though.
Yeah.
No, so what happened was, like, we were just chilling, and then out of nowhere, one of the lamps in our room, in the living room, there was two. I remember because it was on my right side. It was just flickering on and off, and it was just like, what the hell? It was doing it for like 5 seconds, and we went ahead and looked at the light, look at the outlet. It was plugged in. It wasn't out. It wasn't loose. Nothing. So we get back. We're chilling, and like a few seconds pass by. We see like the cup on the table. It's just moving, and it wasn't moving like boom. No, it was moving like slowly and like in a circle. And there was no ice, no condensation, nothing.
It was like a circular motion.
Yeah.
So for those that are listening and not watching, it was just spinning in a rotating in a circular motion, but continually to slide.
Yeah.
And so it's like you said, there was no like condensation or water. There was no explanation as to how it slid. And I know there's gonna be people who are like skeptical, like, oh, they're making it up. No, dude, like I swear, like this is stuff we have really experienced. I think that house was haunted. You can't convince me otherwise. There was one more, I have one more story about that house. I remember I took a nap like after school, and so I'm laying down in my bed.
You told me this one.
You know which one? I had the door like maybe halfway closed, and our sister at the time was like notorious for like coming in the room annoying us during naps.
Yeah.
And I can feel by my feet like someone sitting down
on like the corner of your bed.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like whatever, it's either her or maybe it's mom just checking on me. And I remember opening my eyes and like nobody's there, bro. But you can see like the indentation on the bed of where someone would be sitting down.
That's probably like the most scariest one.
And again, no explanation for it, but it's like we already knew. Like at that point, whenever something happened and we had no explanation for it, we would always say like, oh, es la vecina. It's the neighbor.
Oh, yeah, I remember because we gave her that nickname.
Yeah, because whenever something just happened and we didn't know, or we couldn't explain it, it's the neighbor.
And like she was nice. She seemed nice too, from what we heard.
Yeah,
she seemed pretty nice.
I mean, I never met her, but again, like from what we heard, she sounded like she sounded like a nice person.
Yeah, I also have another story about that house. So I don't remember this, but I was a baby. All right, this is what mom told me. She said when I was like a baby, at the time when I was like sleeping in our sister's room, in the crib, she said that I saw like this one lady in the closet, and I would always tell mom like saying I see someone in the closet, and I wasn't like screaming or nothing. I would say, oh mom, there's someone in the closet, or there'll be another time where I'm over here saying hi in the closet while mom's in the room, and she looks in the closet and no one's there. And then mom told me like she's saying like, oh yeah, you also said that you saw a witch or something. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't remember. I don't remember.
You were little, and I can remember that conversation about like what was going on. But yeah, you were little, and again, it was like one of those things where you don't have an explanation for it.
What about that one time where you said you were singing in the bathroom?
You see, I was thinking of that too. I don't know if I was going to share that story, but since you brought it up, so at our grandma's house, on our mom's side specifically, she has this picture of one of her sons. And
who, grandma?
Yeah, grandma.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's mom's uncle.
Okay, no, I'm just trying to like make it like.
Yeah. Well, again, and he had passed away, many years ago, and he had a good relationship with our mom, I should say.
Yeah. And
I can remember, them telling me after the fact. They told me after the fact he was a fan of the Beatles. Who wasn't? They're great. I love John Lennon and Paul McCartney, of course. And there was one morning that they're giving me a bath, and I'm a small child, and I'm just singing, one of the Beatles songs, "She Loves You," and mom's like, "Hey, where'd you hear that?" And I was like, "Well, the man." I said, "What man?" I that man, and didn't know what to make of it. Maybe a couple weeks go by or whatever, and we visit our grandma, and sure enough, she has the picture up, and I look at my mom, and I say, "That's the man." And to think that, they never told me. I didn't know who the Beatles were. I was a kid. And then again, and at the time, that's not music that we listened to. So to think that, like, I'm singing this, him having a good relationship with our mom, and just having that connectivity, you know what I mean? Again, things you just can't explain. Now you got me stuck on ghost stories at this point.
Yeah.
For people who knew where we worked at a retirement home as servers.
Oh man.
You worked there for like under 2 years?
I worked there for a little bit over a year and a half.
I was there for nearly 6.
I got so much stories about that. Not just ghost stories, but a lot of stories about that.
Well, then today specifically, because we're on Friday the 13th. Naturally, when you work in an environment where there's the elderly, they pass away.
Yeah.
And I remember many times that, again, things would happen and you had no explanation. I'll give you an example. So I would open on Saturdays, and I would, get everything ready, whether it was coffee or making sure all the tables are set, and I'm by myself. Or no, I'm the only server, I should say, because we had Simon, the cook, there with me as well, because he had to prep breakfast. And I'm getting my stuff ready, whatever, and I can feel 2 taps on my shoulder, like someone trying to get my attention.
You too?
And I remember thinking, like, that's weird. Like, I know I didn't make that up. Like, I felt 2 taps. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe one of the other servers are here, because I always got there really early.
Yeah.
And so I call out to Simon. I said, "Hey, Simon, is there anybody else here? Like, did anybody else walk in?" And he's like, "No, it's just you and I." And I'm like, "Huh." And again, it wasn't something, to freak out about. But it was always like, well, it's one of them for sure. They're trying to find something to eat late at, early in the morning, I should say.